सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So the whole Mahabharata war, which we did last class, fought between the two armies of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Kauravas being 100 in number, Pandavas being 5 in number. Pandavas represents the good thoughts in one's personality. Kauravas represent the 100 thoughts in the bad personality, in our own personality, 100 negative thoughts. In and through all these fights, usually it is the majority that wins. Usually it is the negative thoughts that wins. If the Lord Krishna, or the Lord, which is the intellect, saturated with higher values of life, is not with the positive aspects. So at every given point of time, I have to be really careful with whom my intellect is siding. Is it siding the mind and its vagaries, its likes and dislikes, or is it siding the higher values? Usually it sides with the mind and its emotions when the attitude changes of a personality. The higher goal was there, but it is there no more. Why it is there no more? Because the personality is completely confused and tied up in relationships, in the aspects of me and mine. That is what happened with Arjuna. He was fighting for the establishment of righteousness. What is the right thing to be done? From there, as soon as he saw me and mine, this is my child, my son, my daughter, my husband, my wife, my mother, my children, my servant, whatever it is, my. When that minus comes, your vision gets blurred. Then the righteousness gives way to emotions. And in the name of emotions, people say, I always do what my heart says. I always dil ki karo. And in that, they do everything and they fall, literally have a great fall. This concept is well established when the whole first chapter is dedicated to Arjuna, so-called giving reasons of why there should not be any fight. But not once did he say, Krishna, I think I have a problem. There is no thought. We should not fight, we should not fight. We should, and gives all the reasons. We covered it last time. Dharma will go, adharma will come, blah, blah, blah. Till the end, adharma will be there. There will be an intermixture of caste, creed, and everything. Krishna sits and listens. And then he gives his first verse. We covered it last time. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kutasva Kashmalam Vidam Vishame Samupa. With this verse of why, again I am repeating, it's one of the most important lines in the Bhagavad Gita. Kutasva Kashmalam Vidam Vishame Samupastitam. Why am I dejected in a crisis like this, which indicates that there is no said relationship between what is happening outside and my inner state of mind. It's an assumed relationship, but there is no relationship, right? So when Krishna says this, Arjuna perks up and he listens. And then Krishna gives out the next one. Klaibyam masmagama partha nai tattva yupapadyate shuddram hridaya darubalya. Give up this weakness of heart. What is this? My people, their people. You have come here to fight. Get up and fight. Don't sit and cry. This all the planning and programming needs to be done before. Now you are here to fight, just fight. When Krishna says that, it's not that Arjuna perks up and says, yes, I am ready to fight. No, he still keeps on crying. But how I, such a puny personality, with bow and arrow, kill my guru and my pitamaha. See the whole idea. Person is right or wrong escapes from the mind. I always told this. When you want to assess, the biggest exercise Vedanta teaches everybody is assessment of personalities around you. So the first lesson, and perhaps the last lesson which you'll ever learn, is find out whom you are dealing with. There are only two categories, selfish and selfless. So relative selfishness is unselfish. So selfish, unselfish, and selfless. 2-3 categories, that's all. A person whom I'm contacting, he or she can be my father, mother, brother, sister, husband, wife, children, son, daughter, whatever, whoever it is. Is that person selfish or unselfish? What is the essence of that personality? If the person is selfish, then you have to be careful. If the person is unselfish, you don't need to be careful. But how to find whether the personality is selfish or unselfish? Simple thing you'll come to know. When the person's attitude is more giving, while everybody is eating, when the other person serves the food first to the other person, and if everybody thinks that, then the whole family is unselfish. But if anybody just keeps the plate and say, okay, serve and I eat, and I don't bother whether you are eating or not, you have served for yourself or not, then the person is selfish. So this categorization is very important. Then around me, all my relatives are wearing masks, and on that mask is written father. One person is holding the mask, the other person also wearing it. It's written mother, wife. So everybody is wearing the mask with the name on, father, mother, brother, sister. I am supposed to lift that mask and find out whether the person is selfish or unselfish. If I find the other person is selfish, then I know my father is selfish. Basic personality, it's not judgmental. Basic personality. My mother is selfish. My brother is selfish. My sister, whatever it is. And then according to that, you deal with them. You will never have any problems. So get up and fight. But he still sees, he doesn't see righteousness and unrighteousness. He still sees my guru, my teacher, my pitamaha, my grandsire. How can I fight with weapons? And then he says, even if I kill them, what am I going to achieve? I am not going to enjoy these good things in life. Ultimately, he says, whatever happens, it's very difficult for me. And then subsequently, thanks to those 2 verses of Krishna, he understands that this person has got a solution in hand. So he starts. First thing, there is a problem in me. There is a problem in me. The first sign of a spiritual evolved person is the sign of introversion. Till now, everything of Arjuna was extroverted. Arjuna, Duryodhana is bad, Bhishma Pitama is like this, Drona is like this, there is Karna there, Dushasana is there, everything is extroverted. Therefore, I am agitated. Now, for the first time in his life, perhaps, he says, my emotions are overcome with pity. Krishna, I don't know what to do. Therefore, please guide me of what should I do. Whatever you say, I will do. Don't confuse me. Just tell me what to do and I will do. This is the surrender. See, without surrender, no knowledge can be given. Surrender is one of the most important facets of spiritual evolution. Surrender to the lotus feet. Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha, says Bhajagovindam, 31st verse, last verse. Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhaktaha, Samsarad Achirad Bhava Muktaha. One who surrenders to the lotus feet of the Guru. Guru, a person, a text, a grantha, which can remove darkness from your mind, which can remove ignorance, avidya, and replace it with vidya. Such a person, ambuja, like a lotus, nirbhara bhaktaha, samsarad achirad bhava mukta. From the worldly problems, he or she completely, the problems becomes redundant. There are no problems. Just by that kind of shraddha, whatever this person is teaching, whoever the Guru is he or she making sense? Now also you see this, what's happening. Everywhere TV channels are blaring, news are blaring, everybody is shouting over the top of each other to say something which may be completely untrue. So much noise you are hearing that you even don't know, or we don't know, whether the news which we are getting is factual or not. The first and the foremost thing, educate yourself. Educate. Every time think, why is this news coming now? Why is this news coming now? Why is this area? And as soon as you go into the genesis of it, you will come to know why it is coming, the real reason. The majority of people will not, because they have lost the capacity to think. The whole exercise of these classes is to make everybody think, because a thinking person is the most dangerous person. Nobody wants to think. So the first thing anybody does, if you want to spread anarchy, if you want to spread wrong things, is kill education. The Britishers did that beautifully. They said that we will educate all the Indian children and everybody with the famous 3 R's. Reading, writing, with R it started then, and arithmetic, that is mathematics. 2 plus 2 is 4. Only that much, so that they can get educated till matriculation, perhaps a graduation, and they can become good clerks for the officers who are at the higher up, who are British. This is planning. It's happening even now. If you go through any school or education, you will find what the education is. Extracurricular activities are more. Education is by rote. Everybody is saying that you should think, but as soon as you think, you become dangerous. Therefore, you need a guru. The surrender to the guru, to that person who makes you think. First thing. So, Guru Charanam Bhuja Nirbhara Bhakta. Such a surrender is. So, Arjuna was that. He surrendered the whole thing, saying that, please, Krishna, help me. I don't know what to do. And whatever you say, I will do. What surrender? Absolutely. And the next verse, he says, Sanjaya says, and then Arjuna kept the bow and arrow down, and said, I will not fight. The beauty. He says, I surrendered. Please teach me what to do. The next moment, Sanjaya says, he put the bow and arrow down and said, I will not fight. Remember, this is not what Arjuna Uvacha is there. This is what Sanjaya Uvacha. So Sanjaya may be just threatening Dhritarashtra that this is what Arjuna's state is. Or did Arjuna say it? I don't know. We take it for granted that Arjuna said it because Sanjaya said it. He put the bow and arrow down and said, I will not fight. This is where the difference of I have completely surrendered, but don't tell me what to do. You know, sometimes when husband, wife, they fight between each other or anybody, and the wife finds some wrong thing with the husband or vice versa, they go to the other friend and they say, this is what my husband did. This is what my wife did. You know, she is doing this, he is doing that, blah, 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 blah. And the other person, the friend is listening. and say, I've come for you to advise. Please advise me what to do, but don't tell me to go there. This is exactly. Don't tell me to go there. But whatever other advice, in this case, you understand, there is a tremendous confusion in the personality. So don't start giving the right advice. What is the problem with everybody? Why is this person crying? Why is this person agitated or stressed or tensed up in life? Highly strung individual. Why is it? First thing, no purpose in life. Why am I born? What am I supposed to do in life? There is no purpose. There is no goal. There is no destination. When there is no higher ideal in life, you start troubling yourself with all the nitty-gritties of life which are non-essentials. This is where Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, he starts. Ashocyanan vasochastvam prajnavaadansha bhashase gata suna gata suscha nanushocanti panditaha. Ashocyanan vasochastvam. The blessed Lord said, Bhagavanu Vacha, you have been grieving Ashocyanan vasochastvam prajnavadansha bhashase. You are speaking really big, like great wise people, and you are crying for those who are not supposed to be wept for, who are not supposed to be cried for. Selfish people, only thinking about me and mine, their focus will be only that. Whatever the other person has lived, they have lived for what? Not a single person's thought about how are you? How are you feeling? Can I be of some help? No thought. I have come across cases where the lady is completely down and out and the husband says, first prepare tea for me and then we'll decide. This is that kind of subversion, that kind of service oriented, so-called, in the wrong way. You are crying for them who have been whole life selfish. Ashocyanan. It's the same thing. No, sir, actually, now my people are very good. Don't think I have cried for anybody who's selfish. The problem is, in this particular society, we praise people who are selfish. We praise people who are motivated to do the wrong things for everybody else. We have lost our vision of truth. Recently, somebody was saying Ravana was a great Pandit and he was a Shiva Bhakta. True. Ravana was a great Pandit. True. When Rama wanted to build the bridge over the ocean from Rameshwaram to Sri Lanka, he had to start with a puja because everything is done with the puja. So he made a shivling and he wanted to start with the puja. But all he had was he himself a Kshatriya and all the monkeys around with Jambavan, a bear. He didn't have a Pandit, and a Pandit, a wise person doing the puja is the way to go about it ritualistically. When Ravana came to know about it, so they say, Ravana alone flew over and came here. And he told Rama that you want to make a bridge. I can do the puja because I am a sanctioned pujari. And the story is Ravana did the puja. Rama was following Ravana, and at the end of it, Rama had to fall at Ravana's feet to take Ashirvad. Yajman has to take Ashirvad. And Ravana placed his hand on Ram's head and said, Vijayi Bhava. And then he walked off. He's such a great, there is nothing wrong in finding greatness in the so-called vicious personalities. Remember this. There is nothing wrong in finding 2-3 great qualities in a vicious person, but it should not supersede the negativities what the person has done. What we do is due to human rights or I don't know what. we start seeing goodness in bad people to such a level that we understand that they are only victims. And the person whom you are supposed to understand in the Ramayana, Rama, is discounted. Actually, Rama was a very bad husband. Actually, Rama was a very bad. You are discounting that and you are praising Ravana. Ajeeb hai. You are discounting the whole Pandavas. Yudhishthir, Nakul, Sahadev, Bhim, Arjun, discounting even Krishna. Some of the religions put Krishna in the seventh hell. Why? Because he told Arjuna to fight. Arjuna did not want to fight, but he told to fight. Therefore, he is sent to hell. And Arjuna was sent to heaven, poor guy. Arjuna, Krishna is put down. Duryodhana is put up. You know, however bad he is, he was poor guy. Right? He was basically very good. You know, if it was not for Draupadi, we would not have had the war. Because Draupadi was the one who laughed at Duryodhana when he fell down. Came to the inauguration ceremony of inauguration housing ceremony of Indraprastha, and she said, "A blind king's son is also blind. Andhe ka beta andha." Therefore, Duryodhana got angry. What are you talking? Duryodhana tried to kill Bhima when they were children. Right from childhood, he was planning a war. But in this country, we love to blame females. We just love it. Why did Ramayana happen? Because of Sita. If Sita was not there, Ravana kisko kidnap karta tha? Wah, kya baat hai. It's amazing. What logic? See, that's what I'm saying. People have stopped thinking. People have stopped thinking. Stop looking into vicious people and superseding their good qualities and hiding their negatives. Duryodhana was bad. He was in the Kaurava party, therefore he was killed with the help of Krishna or otherwise. Karna, again another superhero, bad, because he was on the side of the Kauravas. No, but he was a good person. Good person siding bad is bad. A good person siding vicious people to hunt good people down is bad. So Karna was bad. Duryodhana was bad. Arjuna, Krishna, all, however weak they were, however problematic they were, whatever problem they had in their head, they were good because they were fighting for righteousness. They were not bothered about their physical personality, whether they live or die. Krishna didn't have anything to do with the war, but he still fought. You are crying for those people who are selfish. Ashotya Nanvasho. You are crying for those who are not supposed to be cried for. And you speak words of wisdom. You know what, Krishna, we should do? We should not fight. We will go in hell. We should not commit sin. What are you talking? Simple rule, understand. Ashotya Nanvashochastvam Prajnavadan Shabhashase. Big wise person. Gata Suna Gata Susha Nanu Shochanti Panditaha. A person who is a real Panditaha. Pandit is not the person with the dress material and the chotis and the hair or no hair. Pandit is a person who's understood life in essence. Pandit is a gardener whom I met recently in our academy, who used to carry in his pocket Jnaneshwari's one couplet. Every morning I used to see, Are, aaj kya hai jeb mein? And he would remove it and read it in Marathi and he'll explain to me. तुम्हारा काम सिर्फ कर्म करने पर है, आजू बाजू में मत देखो, सुबह से लेके शाम काम करो, बस. That's a Pandit. That's a Pandit who was riding once on a bullock cart. His wife had died yesterday, and one of my friend asked him that, काय झालं? मी ऐकलं की तुमचं बायको वारली. Your wife died. What happened? And that guy, a poor farmer with torn clothes, literally riding a bullock cart, he is saying, काय म्हणायचं नाही, Hari Kripa. No, you should not say anything. It's Hari Kripa. Hari Kripa when your wife dies one day before. And people start and try to look out for spiritual people and spiritual granthas to find meaning in life. These are the Panditas. Pandita is a person whom I met in one of the, where I was there at 10 o'clock at night, and this person was making sandwich. I was eating sandwich there. So I said, make a sandwich. And at night, 10 o'clock, I was coming from somewhere. And he smilingly was making a sandwich. So happy. And I told him, don't put the chutney. नहीं sir, आप chutney खाइए, chutney घर की बनी है, बहुत अच्छी है. It's very nice sir. आप घर try तो कीजिए ना. And then he put. I was shocked. At night, 10 o'clock, he has this attitude, standing on a stool. They can't sit. So I asked him, what time you open your shop? He said, sir, mera jo dukaan hai, 6:30. I open it at 6:30 because the college starts. So 7 o'clock, the school starts. So people come and eat before. 6:30 in the morning, he starts standing up, making a sandwich till night, 10 o'clock every day. And at 10 o'clock, being the last or second last customer, he has the same smile. This is Pandita. So a wise person who's understood life, they understand what? Gatasu, agatasu. People come and people go. That person went. This person came. New baby, yes, new kid. Every minute, thousands of children are being born. Every minute, thousands of people are dying. This circus will go on. This is not to slight death or to rejoice birth. This is to understand that people along me are also the same, susceptible to change, susceptible to death. This person sitting here can also go through the same process, susceptible to death at every given point of time. So many people we've heard, I heard one case where the director is dead, and this person who was working in a TV serial, he was on the treadmill. On the treadmill, he stopped and he wrote a message saying that I'm so sad that person died because he was such a good director. And he fell down from the treadmill, heart attack, and he collapsed. That was his last message. This is life. That doesn't mean I have to be, oh my God, tomorrow anyway we have to die, no, what's wrong? So life में excitement ही नहीं रहेगा कुछ. You can't keep on thinking like that, tomorrow, okay, I will die, I don't know what to do. Today this will die. It's not that. Understanding that this can happen. It is an elevator going from top to the bottom. It's coming. One is going, one is coming. Birth is coming like this, death is going like this. And when we are going, gatasu, gone, agatasu. Not gone, going. So people who have gone, they are reaching so-called the golden gates or the hell, I don't know where. Wherever they are reaching golden gates, we assume that they are going to the golden gates. They are going there and we say, Acha Admita, he was a good person. Na? He did so much for this, really good. And so much hospitals he built. So much orphanages. He did a very, very good personality. Basically, he was a good soul. We have no idea what soul is. But anyway, we use the term. Basically, he was a good soul. And that person is gone. And I am in the same elevator. There's a person ahead of me. I am seeing the person gone. He was a good. He was a good. So, how are you? Thoda body, thoda ye, thoda head pain, thoda cheek pain, thoda back pain, thoda ye. A little bit is going on. Okay. I am complaining. I am coughing. My throat is paining. My shoulders are paining. My head is paining. My nose is paining. I am going there and looking then saying, Bichara acha tha. I am also on the same path. Intelligent people understand the whole life is based on people who have gone and those who are in the queue. Intelligent people don't sit and cry for it. Why? They know what life is. What is life? Very easy, I'll explain to you. Okay. You are the Parabrahman, supreme reality. Now listen to this carefully. You are the supreme reality now wearing the guise of a waker, going in this particular name and form, going through the waking experiences and trying to enjoy and suffer therefrom. When that supreme part decides, because it's a physical body, I am awake, it switches off this physical body as if in sleep. So the physical body becomes in sleep mode. There, my mind and intellect is still working. I go into dream. So the supreme reality wears another cloak for dream. And then after the dream, the mind intellect also disappears and I experience deep sleep where there is nothing. When in deep sleep it is there is nothing. Therefore, there is no ego, there is no physical body, mind and intellect. Therefore, I don't experience any world. When in the dream, mind and intellect is there, body is not there. Therefore, mind creates a particular body, but that body can do anything, anytime in the dream. Therefore, it is considered to be not so real. In the waking state, the body gets up, mind intellect is reacting. Therefore, everything looks very concrete, very real. Therefore, the experience seems to be very real. But I, the supreme reality that I have understood, am not the waker. I am not this dreamer who was dreaming just last night. I am not the deep sleeper. I play these roles, but this is not who I am. So what happens when this body gets tired? That's when interesting things happen. That's the next verse we are going to do. Vasasi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grinnati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi vasasi jirnani yatha vihaya. Where is it? Just as a man casting off worn out garments puts on new ones, similarly, the embodied means that which is living within this body. Embodied, casting off worn out bodies creates new ones. Simple. I have a t-shirt, a shirt. Until the shirt and the t-shirt is good, until the dress material is good, I am wearing it and I am happy with it. When it becomes jirnani matlab not repaired, cannot be repaired. It's not just torn, it is falling off. The cloth has become old. Then what I do, I take that t-shirt or something, dress material, and say, this doesn't work for me. I give it up and take a new one. Simple. I am made up of body, mind, and intellect. Physical body is here. What is moving inside this physical body is my mind, which is emotions, my intellect, which is the capacity to discriminate, judge, take decisions, and think. Correct? And what makes these function? First, I have this action. From the action, from where the action has come, I got some desire. I am talking to you now is an action. From where this action has come, it's come from a particular desire. I want to communicate because we have learned something with our guru, which is very helpful. Therefore, we are communicating. This thought, this desire has come from a thought. I want to do this. Since we love the game of cause and effect, every cause has to have an effect. Every effect has to have a, we want to have a cause of, from where did this thought come? Nobody knows. Thought is coming, but I don't know from where it is coming. Therefore, we give a source to that thought, and that source is called vasanas. Ignorance. From ignorance, thought has come. From vasanas, thought has come. From thought, desire has come. From desire, action has come. So, when the desires inside me are too much gurgling, I want to do this, 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 constantly it's on high. But now the physical body has become weak. I want to do 100 things, I'm not able to do even 2. Because everything is falling down. It's paining. But the desires are there too much. So these desires, these vasanas, they decide, listen yaar, बहुत हो गया, वही फटा हुआ बॉडी लेके घूम रहे. How can I fulfill anything from this body? It's so weak, it's so bad. Let's do one thing. Let's dump this body, old body, and create a new one. So, the vasanas, the desires, dump this old compartment of a body which has become frail, which has become useless to exhaust any desires. And the desires are powerful enough to create a new body. There, a human being is born. Here, the human being is died. The vasanas go from here to there. So now you see the whole chart. Physical body, as it was born, it was supposed to die. Therefore, when we celebrate birthday, happy birthday to you, we celebrate that birthday, it represents I have become 1 year old, 40-year-old, 50-year-old, 60-year-old, means ulti ginti shuru ho gayi. Ulta counting has started. So physical body, as soon as it's born, I know it's going to die. It's going to die, not finality. It is decaying anyway. Every minute, every second of the day, it is, we are all incredible melting men and women. Every day we are dying, cells are dying, that science itself tells you. Every day, every minute the cells are dying. So we have been dying on the way anyway. It's just a culmination of the whole thing, doesn't matter. So body is going to be there. It doesn't go anywhere. Mind and intellect with vasanas, they move from this body and create some other body. They go there. So there is no death for them. There is no death for this body because this body was always like this. And the soul, the Paramatma, that doesn't have death because that is everywhere. That is the infinite reality, the all-pervading reality. So a reality which is all-pervading, which is everywhere, where it will go. Any object can move from point A to point B only when it is there in point A and it is not there in point B. But the self, the supreme reality, that highest power, that energy is there everywhere. So it can't move. So self, the supreme reality, has no death, no birth. The causal body, that is the vasanas, the subtle body, that is the mind and the intellect, move to the next chapter. And the physical body was dying right when I was born from. So what is death? It is nothing. Stupidity. Seriously. Death is just a transference, a promotion of energy from one stupid body which can't carry the weight of its desires to a newly created body where those desires will exhaust its desires or vasanas through that body. As simple. Therefore, when this, like a cloth, it goes away, I throw it away. Similarly, a day will come. Vivekananda, half an hour before his death, said these famous words: I may choose to live beyond my body, because when I'm communicating, I have a restriction, a limitation to convey the message of the highest reality. I may choose to live beyond my body, in the trees, in the rivers, in the springs, and I will communicate this highest point of knowledge of Vedanta to everyone. through whatever source, through whatever mouths I can penetrate. When your body has not become important anymore, then you have a job to just take care of the body so that you can exhaust certain desires and do good in whatever way you think good can be done. Take care of it. There are no two bodies. I have one body. There are no two knees. That's it. I don't have a spare knee. I don't have a spare hand. I don't have spare eyes. Take care of it as much as possible, but don't keep on scrubbing your motorcycle. We had a person in the society and he used to clean his motorcycle so beautifully. Every day morning, 6 o'clock, he will come with a bucket, soap water, and 2-3 hours he'll clean with a toothbrush. Beautiful cleaning. And when his son wanted to drive the motorcycle, he would say, no, don't touch it. He never allowed anybody to touch the motorcycle, including himself. And the motorcycle was beautiful. What is the use of having an equipment which you don't have any use for, you don't know where you are going? Maintain it and keep a premium to what is most important. Money will come, money will go. Family will come, family will go. Things will come, things will go. This is a temporary world. The only thing you will not get back is time. And in the name of procrastination, we waste time as if it's nothing. 1 minute gone today, it's not going to come back. Age, what has gone back, it's not going to come back. What has to be the most premium in my life has become the most lethargic attitude. So stop procrastination, start study, make each and every breath of yours count. None सास सास में नाम ले, बिरता श्वास न खोए, न जाने ये श्वास का आवन होए न होए. Each and every breath, create a meaning out of it. God knows when the next breath is going to come. Until it is there, make the best use of it. We'll continue next time. Oh. Om. Om. Hari Om Tat Sat.